Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. And despite the fact that I do not have my computer yet, I'm going ahead and recording the videos for the next commander deck. The next spoilers for the next commander deck, which is the Ruinous Powers. We finished off the Tyrannid the Tyrannid deck, and those creatures are beefy, they're busted, and definitely it's gonna be hard playing against that deck. Next up is the deck called Ruinous Powers, and it's focused around the Astartes and demons and chaos. It's in the Grixis colors, which is black, blue, and red. So, starting off is Keeper of Secrets. 1 red, 5 colors for a 6/4 demon with first strike and haste. Has Symphony of Pain. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Keeper of Secrets deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. Ouch. Next up is another card that's in the Japanese text, so I have to switch off to the translation page. Give me a second here. Lucius the Eternal. 1 black, 1 red, 3 colors for a 5/3. I believe it's a Astartes Warrior. With haste. Whenever Lucius the Eternal dies, choose target creature an opponent controls, exile it. So you exile Lucius the Eternal. When that creature that you've chosen leaves the battlefield, return Lucius the Eternal from exile to the battlefield under its owner's control. So this dude is definitely hard to get rid of. You can put him in, when he dies, you can put him in the exile and choose a creature, destroy that creature, and bring him back from exile. That's interesting. And again, that goes along with that card we just read about, that if you cast him from anywhere other than your hand, it deals damage equal to that mana value. That's 5 mana value. Yeah. Next up is kind of a saying of this particular clan, or this faction is let the galaxy burn. 1 red, 5 colorless, and X. A sorcery with Cascade. Let the galaxy burn deals X plus 2 damage to each creature that didn't enter the battlefield this turn. Ouch, that's expensive. Next up is another, I guess, saying of this particular faction. Kill, maim, burn. 1 black, 1 red, 3 colorless. Choose 1 or more. Destroy target artifact. Destroy target creature. Kill, maim, burn. Deals 3 damage to target player. That's fun. Next up is a nice reprint that that we're going to see, a lot of, and it comes with a new artwork and everything. Talisman of Hierarchy. 2 colorless mana for an artifact. Tap to add a colorless, or tap to add white or black. Talisman of Hierarchy deals 1 damage to you. Next up is Choked Estuary. Enters the battlefield, you may reveal a swamp or island card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield, tap to add blue or black. Next up is Exotic Orchard, which is a land that's tap, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls you can produce. And the next 3 are just some of the basic lands from this set: the island, the mountain, and the forest. We have following those is Aspiring Champion. 1 red and 3 colors for a 3/3 Astartes Warrior with Menace. Ruinous Ascension. With Aspiring Champion deals combat damage to a player. Sacrifice it. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield and shuffle the rest into your library. That creature is a demon. It deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. That could be nasty. Next up is the Horus Heresy. 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, 3 colorless for an enchantment saga that reads, Chapter 1. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target non-legendary creature that opponent controls for as long as the Horus Heresy remains on the battlefield. Chapter 2. Draw a card for each creature you control but don't own. In Chapter 3, starting with you, each player chooses a creature. Destroy each creature chosen this way. So, it looks like part of the game mechanics of this faction is gonna not only be demons, but it's also gonna be, a creature theft. Next up is Magnus the Red. 1 blue, 1 red, 3 colors for a 4/5 demon Primarch with flying. It's unearthly power. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 colorless less to cast for each creature token you control. Blade of Magnus. Whenever Magnus the Red deals combat damage to a player, create a 3/3 red spawn creature token. So it creates tokens, so your instants and sorcery cost less to cast. Fun. Next up is the Ruinous Powers. 1 black, 1 red, 2 colors for an enchantment. Since at the beginning of your upkeep, choose an opponent at random. Exile the top card of that player's library until the end of turn. You may play that card. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. When you cast a spell this way, its owner loses life equal to its mana value. That's going to get out of hand quickly. Next up is Sloppity Biopiper. That's a funny name. 1 black, 3 colors for a 3/3 demon with Jolly Gut Pipes. 2 colorless. Tap it. Sacrifice a creature. The next creature you cast this turn has Cascade. That's funny. Next up is another reprint that people might be happy to see. And pretty much a staple card for Commander decks in Chromatic Lantern. 3 colors for an artifact that reads, lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. And you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. So, mana rock. Next up is Commander Sphere. An absolute add in all your Commander decks. Is probably going to be found in most all the Commander decks. 3 colorless for an artifact reads, tap to add 1 mana of any color. Your Commander's color identity. Sacrifice Commander Sphere, draw a card. Next up is Baron Moore. Land enters the battlefield, tap to add black, or cycling for black. So you can pay a black, discard the card, and draw a card. Foreboding Ruins, another land. It's one of these reveal lands. You reveal a swamp or a mountain. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tap a tad, black or red. Next up is Crumbling Necropolis. I believe this is also another reprint. Please excuse me, my eye itch is really bad. So it enters it's a land that enters the battlefield tap, or you can tap it at either blue, black, or red. Next up is Forgotten Cave. A land that enters the battlefield tapped, or tap it at red, or cycle for red. Next up is Molten Slag Heap. Tap it to add one colorless, or one colorless, tap it, put a storage counter in Molten Slag Heap, and then one colorless, remove X storage counters from Molten Slag Heap, add X mana in any combination of black or red. Next up is Swiftwater Cliffs, another one of the lifelands. It enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain a life. Tap it to add either blue or red. Next up is another reprint that people might be excited to see, and will probably be included in many of the decks. Temple of the False God. A land that reads tap it to add 2 colorless mana. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. Of course, if you're playing Commander, you're going to have lots of lands. So, yeah. Next up, Evolving Wilds. That's Joey Moss. This must be the first print of this card, because it reads tap it, sacrifice Evolving Wilds, search your library for a basic land card, and put it into the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And also, on a serious note, all those lands that have the dual land types, that have more than one land type, including your triumphs and that are in both New Capenna and Ikoria, can use this mechanic. Next up is Terramorphic Expanse. This card is trash. At least according to Joey Moss, it is. Tap, sacrifice Terramorphic Expanse, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I think this is the first time we've seen both of those in the same set. Next up is another one of the talismans. Talisman of Dominance. 2 colors, tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to add blue or black, and it deals 1 damage to you. Then we have Talisman of Indulgence. 2 colorless, an artifact. Tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to add either black or red, and it deals 1 damage to you. Next up, let's start this off with Wayfarer's Bauble. One colorless mana for an artifact. Reads 2 colorless, tap it, sacrifice Wayfarer's Bauble, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. Next up is Worn Power Stone. 3 colorless for an artifact. Enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add 2 colorless mana. Another staple in Commander deck. Next up is another piece of equipment that is interesting for this, but for this particular Commander deck is going to be kind of the equipment for it in Assault Suit. 4 colorless mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gains +2/+2, has haste, and it can attack you or planeswalkers you control and can't be sacrificed. So at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of an equipped creature until end of turn. If you do, untap it and equip for 3. Again, there can be some political shenanigans going on with that card. So an interesting piece of equipment for sure. Next up is another I think people will find exciting reprint, and I'll end it here in Brainstorm. 1 blue mana for an instant and reads, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on the top of your library in any order. Well, we're going to stop the video here, and we're going to record the next one. So we'll see you on the next Warhammer 40k spoiler video.